Hi, I'm Jennifer Geeker. I'm our Director of Philanthropy, and we kick off our 50th anniversary. I'm here with our Executive Director, Leslie Powell Boudreaux. What does this anniversary mean to you?
It's fantastic. We've been doing this for 50 years, helping communities grow, helping people solve their problems and make their lives better because things are going on in their lives that require the law, require them to go to court, and they require them to find ways to solve problems that are life-changing for them. We've kept people from being homeless. We've kept families together. We've kept people safe. We have kept people in a path that they can really continue to grow, get past legal issues, educate themselves, and find ways out of poverty. We've been doing that for 50 years, and when we think about the number of lives that we've been able to impact in doing that is sort of mind-blowing. And to celebrate that 50-year mark gives us a chance to pause and contemplate that impact.
You have led legal services through a lot of growth and change. Are there any moments that have stood out to you?
Wow, that's a great question. I think the first thing that comes to mind, we've had a major hurricane come through our service area. In 2018, Hurricane Michael impacted almost every county in our 16-county service area, some more than others. What stands out to me is the teamwork the staff pulled together, got into the community and responded. And when I think about the number of families who were facing eviction from apartment complexes that were damaged, who were at risk of not getting their houses repaired because they needed a probate on the house to do that, just the number of people who their lives would be so much more difficult without us, and without that teamwork and effort to get into the community and make sure people had the information they needed early. It makes such a huge difference. And I can pick a second. We also had the pandemic. The pandemic was a real challenge. I'm one of those who believes crisis equals opportunity. And we responded really well. And our ability to transition our technology to be able to work remotely and help people who were losing their jobs, who were having reduced income, who were suddenly having to face no child care, children at home, that may have meant they couldn't go to their jobs. They didn't have family who could care for their children, or maybe their elderly parents were caring for their children. All these different things caused so many challenges, and to be able to help those people get through legal issues that came out as a part of that and come out on the other side and still have some degree of stability is life-changing for many people. And our organization's ability to respond to those kinds of challenges that you can only plan so much for, and still be able to keep doing the work and helping people has been special to watch.
So legal services work touches thousands of lives every year. Is there a specific client moment that really resonated with you?
There's many. It's hard to come up with one. I've done different kinds of work myself and watched the impact of their work. I want to talk a minute about our veterans' work, because we've helped a lot of veterans who are in very different stages of life. We've helped some active duty military who are in very different stages of their lives. There's one gentleman from years ago, and he was overseas when he was served with paternity action. And for some reason, the court pushed it through while he was overseas, and there was a child support order that simply was not affordable to him. It was based on income he didn't receive. And one of our attorneys was able to get a rehearing on that issue and get him to where he was actually able to not be homeless. That's how he came to us. He was able to resolve that problem. It wasn't easy. It took reopening the court case. I think there was an appeal. That gentleman was a young man in his late 20s looking at a life of uncertainty, and he wanted to help take care of his child and make sure child support was in place, but it was based on an unrealistic amount. And just being able to fix that for him helped him continue his service, helped him continue to make a plan for his life that would allow him to care for his child, to be a part of his child's life. That's one that sticks with me the most.
Incredible. Something I loved about legal services is the impact we have, but also the fact that you remembered in that case is so cool. A lot of our attorneys are the same way, where they remember these people, they're invested, and they holistically care about the human and helping them. And that gives me the warm fuzzies, and I love it.
Very true. There's a lot of heartfelt service in this organization.
That's amazing. For 50 years now, we've been a very strong organization, but the needs in the community continue to shift. Is there a more pressing need now for our clients?
We do a broad range of work. Historically, representation for victims of domestic violence and family law issues has been a large part of our casework. And that can range from helping get orders for protection, that can range from divorce, custody, visitation, sometimes housing-related work, sometimes income tax work, depending on what's going on with the family. But the shift over the past 5 to 6 years has been an increase in challenges with affordable housing and housing for everyone in the community, including victims of domestic violence. With the hurricane that came through in 2018 and 2020, we've seen a reduction in available housing. A lot of affordable housing was damaged and hasn't come back. There was also a spike in the cost of housing during the pandemic in 2020 that has exacerbated that problem. And so many people are finding themselves with very little choices of where to live. They're finding themselves, the only housing they can find is housing that they can barely afford. And all it takes is one unusual expense, a flat tire, the need to upgrade their car seat for their child. These are the kinds of things that can mean that they fall behind in rent quickly. It's hard to catch up when living paycheck to paycheck. The biggest shift we've seen is that housing has become a harder thing to maintain. And the other difficult choice that a lot of families are making is if they do find housing they can afford, it's not in great shape. If there's mold in the house, then often the children are affected, which can impact their education, which can impact the ability of the parents to be able to go to work. Just those health impacts sort of compound all of those problems. And so those are really difficult choices. We can't fix all problems, but if we help people understand their options and make choices, it gives them a chance to have some control over a life that they often have very little control over what's going on.
I find that a lot of our staff members, our attorneys, everyone who works here is really passionate about the work that we do.
Very true, yes.
Can you expand on that, or what that means to you, and do you see that inside of us as well?
Oh, absolutely. I'm in awe most days. Staff are human beings with lives too. Everyone has something else going on. They're caring for their children, many for their parents. They may have financial challenges. People have children, see parents pass away, see family members pass away. There's all the things that go on in life for everyone else, yet they come to work and they keep doing the work with care and compassion and love for their communities. It is really a beautiful thing to watch and be a part of. This isn't easy work. Nobody comes to us because they're having a good day. Usually they're facing a real life challenge. Many are in desperate circumstances. Our staff just regularly look past some of that harshness that someone may come to us with because of the problem that someone else caused and still find ways to help them. And that's tremendous. Another part is how everyone on staff supports each other and is there for each other when they've had a hard day and helps, even if it's just talking about the legal issue in a case, just really being supportive of one another. It's really an important part of what we do. That teamwork environment has really, I think, is part of the growth of the organization.
What do you hope our community knows and understands about legal services and the work that we do?
It's an interesting question because people have different expectations or a sense of what we do. It's interesting to hear the surprise when people say, I didn't know you even did that kind of work, and have those conversations. I sometimes compare the work we do to being a surgeon versus a general practitioner. We are very specialized in what we do. We are not distributing food to people. We're not helping people pay rent. We're not doing some of those things that other organizations in our community do that are so critical for the clients that we serve. We step in when there is a specialized problem that needs to be resolved that can't be resolved in other ways. We rely on partnerships to help us resolve them, for them to qualify for rental assistance or help someone stay in an apartment until they receive that Social Security check they've been waiting for. We're part of the solution. That partnership, that network of social service agencies and programs that support people are a part of that solution. We would love for every client we serve to never have to come back to us. We would love to put them in a position where they succeed and thrive in our communities without facing another civil legal issue. I don't know that that's realistic based on statistics that talk about how many how many legal issues people face on an annual basis. But working with our partners and making sure everyone who comes here gets the services they need, not just from us, but from other organizations in the community that can put them on that path, is part of who we are. It's part of our culture, values, and helps those organizations as well. If we can make it so someone doesn't need to go to the food pantry and that food is now available for someone else, or that someone can buy their own house and they don't have to rent and they don't have to worry about those evictions, those are fantastic. And we do that through the partnerships that we have in our community.
And we worked really hard over the past year, few years, to build up those community partnerships as well, so that we can help our clients to identify those resources, that those other organizations know we exist and they can refer back to us. So it's just all about taking care of our community.
It's very symbiotic. It's very much about how we support each other. And so, yes, we've grown our community partnerships. We have worked really hard to sustain them. Like any organization, staff who may leave, and we need to develop a relationship with the new people who come in and make sure they understand it as well. Make sure they don't forget it, because sometimes it feels easier to help someone move from a bad apartment instead of addressing the substandard living conditions that exist in that apartment. And we can help address the substandard living conditions while someone else might be able to pay for them to move somewhere else. Someone else is going to move into that apartment if we don't fix it. And that's a community solution.
And there are some things people don't realize are legal issues. I might not realize problems in my apartment are something that an attorney can help with. So is that something that we do see often? And how do we let clients know we can help in those areas?
Right. Yeah, no, we do see that a lot. And one of the ways we see it is people come to us too late. Sometimes the legal process is over and there's not much we can do. And that's something that we want to avoid. So we try to address that by doing education in the community, a lot of know your rights presentations, a lot of sharing brochures which share information that someone may look at and say, I don't need this, I'm not getting evicted, or I don't need a will. But if they see it often enough, or if someone who cares about them sees it and knows they may need it, then sharing that information with the community as a whole, but also with the other people who serve the same people that we serve, helps to remind people that legal solutions are available and can have a longer term impact on the community and individuals than some other solutions.
I see that in our staff too. The natural education, we want to tell people who we are, because you never know when it's going to be you or a neighbor. The more you can just tell people, you never know when it's going to be. I hear it all the time when I'm in an Uber, chit-chatting with my driver, talk about what I'm doing, and they're like, I know someone who needs. I'm like, well, here's my business card. A service that's so needed, and a lot of people just don't know about us. I love being able to share that message with people. Lots of Uber drivers. I'm like,
the number of people they see in a car and that they have in their backseat, maybe talking about their problems, but just the strangers who may pop into their lives, and being able to share that information is really fantastic.
Looking ahead, what excites you the most about legal services future?
Oh, wow. There's always change. Change is inevitable, and the communities are going to change. The resources that we have in terms of funding are always going to change. How we serve those changing problems has to change with it. We have to make adjustments in terms of what we can do to make sure as many people can get legal assistance as possible. Having enough attorneys to represent everyone is a heavy lift. And it on many days seems unachievable. But if we can give people tools so they can represent, I hate to say represent themselves because they're not lawyers, but if we can give people tools so that they can understand the process that they're going through and make some choices, even if we can't represent them, that's something we're working toward. Detailed information, that kind of guidance for people who can go to court on their own and make legal arguments without legal education for themselves. Getting a lot of that, what we call self-represented litigants, which is really, again, it's not a correct statement, because if you're not a lawyer, you can't represent yourself, and you shouldn't. There's just not enough lawyers. And I'm excited as we find ways to fill that gap where attorneys aren't available. Clients just need guidance to keep the playing field level when they go to court. And maybe the other party is a corporation, or the other party is someone who has the ability to hire a lawyer. How can we make it so that their arguments, their side of the story gets heard? And so we're doing a lot in that space, and I'm excited to see where that goes.
It seems like it's a lot about empowering people
Yes.
too, so they just feel more confident stepping into that situation.
It
They know
is.
someone's in their corner, even if just a phone call away, just making sure they feel supported and heard. Hopefully they feel a little less scared, a little more like they can do it.
We'll see how it goes.
Fingers crossed.